Debt management versus bankruptcy. What's the right fit for you in under 5 minutes?
5 minutes. All right. Wow. We got a little time, but not a whole lot. Let's do it.
Well, I just want to, we'll do high level here. If it's a little
As
longer,
work.
it's fine. So, Todd, you've had 100,000 people plus through your debt management system, right?
Yeah.
And you have relationships with creditors and you can bring interest rates down.
Right.
And the question I want to ask you is when does someone go to debt management versus bankruptcy or whatever's in the middle?
Yeah.
Let's unpack
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Let's talk about that because I get that question a lot when I'm out and doing my community presentations. People say, well, should I just file for bankruptcy? And usually the first question I ask is, have you talked to a debt management company?
Mhm.
If you can afford monthly payments, debt management companies can usually rework your current agreements with your creditors so that your interest rates are now at 2% or 5% or 8% versus 18, 20, 25, 30 even. I've seen some credit card companies with default rates in the 60% range. So if we can get those down and make it more manageable so your monthly payments work, fantastic. You get paid off in 5 years or less. There is no direct effect on your credit score. FICO does not consider your participation in the program. The accounts do close, so there might be some indirect effect there. But if you can do that, fantastic, do it. But a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm not at that point.
So that means, so you're saying if you can afford the payment at 2% or whatever,
Yeah,
right? So let's actually do some real numbers. So let's
yeah,
pretend someone has $10,000, right?
right.
So
Okay.
$10,000, your typical minimum payment is going to be 4% of that, right?
Yeah, through your credit card
Your credit
at
card.
20%,
Right.
25%.
So that's 400 a month where
Yeah.
it's not paying it down at all, right?
Right. Yeah, you're just
So
paying the minimum 1% each month maximum that it comes down.
so what would that would mean would be if we dropped it to your interest in that case would go to 2% or go to
Mhm.
$200 and you'd be paying it down $200 a month, right?
Yeah, generally, yeah. So generally you would look somewhere in that neighborhood, 2%, maybe sometimes a little less than that of the
Uh-huh.
of the total balance might be your monthly payment, including the capped fee that is regulated by every state, but it's very, very reasonable. So yeah, it makes it much more affordable and you're out of debt in 5 years or less, no prepayment penalty. uh, uh,
Uh-huh.
you do have to have monthly income and you have to have
Or yeah, of
enough
course.
to pay that. And when people say, look, I'm in between jobs or I took a hit and there's no way I can pay these even that half or so, 50, 60% of what I was paying or they're asking for. Then we start talking about, okay, let's maybe get you connected with the bankruptcy attorney.
Right.
Especially if they're saying, yeah, I'm a homeowner and I don't want to lose my home.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
there's an asset. Let's talk about not losing the asset.
I
And
mean,
then,
so Todd, let
yeah,
me throw
yeah,
something out to you.
yeah.
So if I have a client and from my sort of like internal calculation has always been without assuming an inheritance or a
Mhm.
raise, because everyone is always hoping for like a life event that's going to
My
pay off
great
all
Aunt
of that.
Bertha that
Right.
I never met or heard of.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get those. So
Yeah.
without assuming a raise or an inheritance or something like that to pay off your debt, can you pay off your debt in less than 2 years?
Hmm.
Because if not, here's the thing with bankruptcy, right? And we've had hundreds of thousands of people on our side go through bankruptcy, right? The
Yep.
nice thing about bankruptcy, okay, so on a $10,000 debtor or a client at $10,000, they pay $1,500, $2,000 for bankruptcy. If it's a chapter seven, all the debt gets wiped away
Yep.
like in 90 days. And it takes somewhere between 12 to 24 months to rebuild that credit score to 720. And after bankruptcy, even with the bankruptcy on the credit report. And and so my calculation has always been, if you can't pay the debt off in 2 years, poke holes in that. Why don't you like that? Or does that sound good?
Yeah. No, I understand that. I mean, I've had having developed and taught a post filing debtor education course that's required for people going through bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I would meet people out in the community and would every once in a while I would meet somebody say, hey, it's been a couple of years. You taught this class.
Mhm.
And I say, how you doing? Oh, we just bought a house. And the first time I'm like, how did it go?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got a pretty good interest rate on it too, because
Yeah.
they had been able to rebuild their credit
Yeah.
within and after about 2 years. It is true. I mean, bankruptcy for those first 2 years can be grueling, especially if you're not doing anything. If you just say, hey,
Well,
I filed
that's
for bankruptcy,
that's the key.
it's just all negative.
Yeah. Right.
But if you are rebuilding it and putting positive stuff on there and you can, and not going into additional debt, yeah, you can rebuild that. And so it's there. I tell people, look, if you're in the finance industry, if you're working for a government, if you're um, in law enforcement,
Hmm.
you got to understand that there's going to be, besides the financial aspect, there might be some other career effects in your
Hmm.
career, because bankruptcy, some places don't look kindly on that. That's a different consideration, and that's
So,
it's few and far between,
and
honestly.
I got new news on that, which is pretty
Yeah.
interesting actually. You know, with bankruptcy, especially with the market doing what it's doing, right?
Hmm.
Like bankruptcies are really going up. I mean, the
Yeah.
inquiries are going up. I mean,
Yeah.
with student loans now being on collection, we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
over 5 to 6 million people that are serious delinquent on their student loans.
Yeah.
And 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 the Trump administration said those are going to be garnished. And even, I mean, because it's a federal law, because
Yeah.
it's federal student loan, those even so people on Social Security could get garnished.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's a little different. Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
different. So I'm starting to see the shift in that. I mean, we have people now who are in law enforcement. I have people working for the government. I have people that I mean, securities that
Yeah.
actually like they're disclosing up front. They're going to their boss or whoever and saying, "Hey, I
Yes.
just want to let you know, here's what I'm doing because of this,"
Yeah.
and they're getting
That's
green
important.
lights.
That's
So
important.
it's a
Yeah.
big win. It's a big.
Yeah.
I think the shift of bankruptcy is not like it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I first started 20 years ago, they were every paper you read had a listing of,
Yeah,
this is this week's filings of people who are filing for
yeah,
bankruptcy, right there and for the public.
yeah,
I actually still, every once in a while, I'll still see a small paper having something like that, but that stigma is going away. And I love what you say. If you are in one of those industries that historically has had some limitations on it, yeah, talk to somebody about it. It's just to make sure, because things are changing, the view of how, and being open and upfront. This is why, I'm
yeah,
not going to become the next, somebody's is going to be blackmailing
yeah.
me, and I don't have access to all these secrets. So, this
Yeah.
is why I'm doing it.
I mean, the president of the United States filed bankruptcy. I mean, this is the reality we're living in,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
it
that's
just
true.
is what it is. And so when it comes to debt management or debt settlement or bankruptcy, the bottom line is you got to learn your options, right?
Yeah.
Before you
Yeah.
jump in, what are your options? Because some bankruptcy attorneys
Yeah.
are going to tell you, hey, I'm not going to file your case for $5,000.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you follow into a 13 or whatever, like they're going to say, find debt management.
Yeah.
So, Todd, great help, great for the insight. And once again, appreciate you being on.
Good always talking to you, Philip. Thanks.
Mhm.